Hello and welcome to the Primary Class Regional for the South here in 2022. We're live from the F1 in Schools HQ and we're really happy to be bringing you your racing show today. In the studio we have got Lawrence, we've got Nelson and Amy and myself Tom taking you through today's activities. Let's find out what's in store today. We're going to be meeting the teams, find out who your competitors are. Then we're going to be getting some words of wisdom and advice from Hey Hooray, from Team Blackout, who made it to the podium at our World Finals this season. And then finally, the reason you are all here, we're going to be getting onto the racing out on the track, seeing how fast your cars can go. Before we do that, we're just going to remind ourselves what the primary class is all about. So let's head out and check out the video. Well, that was the process that you have all just been through to get yourselves in the position for today. Well, what we want to happen now is we want you to make some noise. So, on the count of 3, what you're going to do is you are going to shout F1 in schools as loud as you possibly can. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3. F1 in schools! Wow, could you hear that, Amy?
Yeah, just about got that one.
I am not completely sure.
You're not completely sure, Nelson? Do you think we should do it again?
I think we need another one.
Let's try it again then. On the count of 3, F1 in schools. 1, 2, 3. F1 in schools!
They heard that all the way in Australia.
Absolutely amazing. We love that. That was really, really loud. I could feel the studio rocking. So make sure you make noise for the entire show. Scream down your classroom when your car is on track, but make sure you support everybody else. And you can do that by commenting in the chat live for this stream. And if you're streaming it together as a class, your teacher can put some comments in there, message of support for our other teams today. Well, that leads us nicely on to finding out who your competitors are. Who are the teams, Amy and Nelson?
And lining up on the grid today, we have the teams from the south, starting with Firm,
And the Lightning Dragons,
Sonic Squad,
Fire Stallions,
Team Wind Wolves,
Venomous Vipers,
Vortex,
Copper Dolphins,
the Smarties Squad,
the Midget Maniacs,
Fusion Force,
Galaxy Star.
and Calypso RJEP.
Wow, some
Great name.
amazing names, and the Midget Maniacs getting a great laugh from the studio there. So there must be something in that name. It was a brilliant names though, and great creativity from our teams from the south. We absolutely loved that. So some of you have been sending in some introductory videos for us, and we love to see them too. So let's head out and see you on screen.
We are Team Firm.
Hi, we're Team Lightning Dragons.
Hi. We are the Fire Stallions.
Hi, we're Team Wind Wolves.
Ho!
We are Venomous Vipers.
Hi, we're Vortex.
We are the Copper Dolphins.
Hi, we're Fusion Force.
Hi, we're Galaxy Star. Welcome to Calypso RJE.
How did you find those introduction videos, Nelson?
Love that. Ooh.
Some great stuff, great creativity.
No, it's always great to hear and see the students, isn't it? Because we normally feel all of this energy live with us next to the track. So this is probably the second best thing.
This is definitely the second best thing, and we can't wait to get back in person, which we are next season. So you can register your team now, so make sure you're badgering your teachers to get you entered into next season's competition where you'll be live at the track. You can see us in person, you can scream for your cars down the track, but please do scream as loud as you can today. Before we do that though, have a listen to Haya Ray's advice and some of her wonderful words after her amazing success with her team Blackout making it on the podium at the World Finals this year.
Hi, I'm Hia and I'm the project manager for Blackout. I've been competing for 4 years and we've had incredible success during that time, coming second in both the national and world finals. F1 in schools has opened so many doors for me. Since competing, I've been able to visit Silverstone for the actual Grand Prix, and we got a tour of Alfa Romeo, including the incredible opportunity to meet their head strategist. I've also been in contact with the PMIEF, the Project Management Foundation, which is really exciting. F1 has been essential in my development as it's helped me to develop teamwork skills and growing confidence to be able to speak from businesses from all around the world. The one thing I would say is never give up, because F1 will get hard. It's an incredibly demanding project, but it can do so much for you. And if you find the right teammates, you'll have incredible fun along the way. To all the teams, the best of luck while competing. Have a really great time.
Well, thank you very much for that, Haya. That was absolutely amazing to see how well you've done and how much you enjoy the F1 in Schools competition. And it's definitely some aspiration for you guys watching this stream to see that you can go from our primary class into our secondary entry and development and professional, and you can make it all the way to the World Finals. So make sure you keep on top of this competition, you keep getting involved. Anyway, it's what you've all been waiting for. It's time to go racing. Over to Amy and Nelson to introduce our first two teams.
And the first two cars taking the track today are Firm and the Copper Dolphins.
Firm and Copper Dolphins, two incredibly different designs there. Lawrence, could you tell us about them?
I mean, it looks like a solid design from Firm, and those colours, they're almost like the Incredible Hulk, so bright. But that front wing, it's really wide, and you can see that it's directing the air, forcing it over those front wheels so you don't get too much turbulence. The Copper Dolphins, it's a bit of an ulterior design here. They've got that flat front wing. That's not going to be creating any lift or downforce, which might give them the edge.
Well, let's get straight on track for our very first race of this regional final. Out on track.
Now with race number 1, with lane 1 with Team Firm, and in lane 2, Copper Dolphins. There they go.
And Copper Dolphins splashing into first place there with a 2.120. Firm very close behind with a 2.586.
Two great finishes there from our teams. It's great to see them flying down our track. I hope you really enjoyed that first race, and I hope in particular Team Firm and Copper Dolphins were screaming your classroom down to see your cars getting to the finish line. We've got a track team out on the track today. It's Amy and Max, and they are bringing their cars back down and loading up the 4-gram canisters, ready to set the cars off on the next race. And I can see them both waving and smiling, jumping up and down really happily outside, ready for our second race. Let's go out on track.
Second race, guys, with the team still in the same lane. So Team Firm in lane 1 and the Copper Dolphins in lane 2.
And the Copper Dolphins flipping over all of their competitors there with a 2.100. Firm very close behind with a 2.414.
Absolutely great stuff from both sets of team. Now, while we wait for the cars, just to really quickly switch lanes of our track team, Lawrence, you have performed in the professional class of F1 in schools. What was a particular highlight for you in your time competing?
I mean, for all 3 years I was in the professional class, the goal was always to make it to the World Finals, which we did manage in our third and final year, and that was just an unforgettable experience. I mean, for us it was in Abu Dhabi, and I'd never been to Asia before, so it was so cool to experience the culture of a different country, but also to meet all of the competitors from different countries, you know, just all around the world, taking part in F1 in schools. I've made some friends that I still have to this day, and also got loads of cool experiences. I surfed down sand dunes and rode camelback. I really recommend that as you move through secondary school, you keep competing in F1 in schools, because it is just an incredible competition.
Wow, sounds like an absolutely amazing experience.
And Tom, let me just say that the primary class is not just in the UK. It's many of our international partners have been doing F1 in Schools primary class from Australia, like you said, Amy, but also to Brazil, Singapore, Portugal, South Africa, and many, many others.
Plenty of countries. It's absolutely worldwide. I think the USA is part of that as well, I've seen on our social media channels. You know that you're competing in a worldwide competition, but let's get on track, more importantly, and find out how the Copper Dolphins and Team Firm do in race number 3.
Race number 3, Copper Dolphins in lane 1 now, and Team Firm in lane 2.
And the Copper Dolphins taking that one again with a 2.220. Sorry, getting my numbers mixed up there. Firm with a 2.760.
2 great times again. And Amy, you've competed as well. Have you got a particular highlight that you could take out from your time in F1 in Schools?
I definitely love competing. The competing part is amazing. But like Lauren said, going and meeting so many different teams in different countries. But one of my favourite parts outside the competition was when I was in Texas and we went to a rodeo. So that was really fun. Cowboy boots and cows everywhere. It was great, yeah. Cowboy boots and cows
everywhere in Texas. Well, that sounds absolutely amazing, but you can just see, just from the examples we've got here in the studio, that F1 Schools can take you anywhere. So, we've got one more race of these 2 pairings. Let's head out on track and find out what happens.
4th race for the Copper Dolphins and Team Firm. Let's see who's going to take this one. Lights out, there they go.
And Copper Dolphins making that a full house of wins with a 2.289. Firm doing very well with a 2.678.
Well done to both teams there. An absolutely amazing start to this region. Well, we've got a leaderboard that's going to build up throughout the course of this show. So let's find out how the first 2 teams have placed. And there we have it, the Copper Dolphins diving into first position with a 2.100 and Firm getting a tight grip on second position with a 2.414. Well done to both teams, doing an absolutely great job there. And we did notice, if we could maybe pull the teams back up there, an asterisk next to both teams' name. Nelson, could you just describe for me?
Yeah, so what that means is that some teams are under technical investigation due to a potential technical infringement. If you read the rules and regulations, there are certain dimensions that we cannot simply fail. It could be length, it could be the weight of the car, but the whole intention is not have an unfair advantage to a team on track. It will not prevent any team from winning the first place overall, but it may be a consequence for the fastest car award or the best engineering award.
Thanks for that, Nelson. Really, really good to see. Okay, so what we need to do now is head out on to. Sorry, I'm very confused there. What we need to do is introduce our teams before we get out on track. So, who are our next 2 teams, Amy?
And next on track, we're going to be having the Lightning Dragons and the Smarties squad.
Wow, 2 great-looking teams again that we've got here. Lawrence, what stats you got for us?
Yeah, so we've got 2 very different designs, actually. We see the Lightning Dragons have these massive side pods. They're scooping up all of the air that's coming off the front wheels and tucking it in. It's not even going to reach those rear wheels. Whereas the Smarties squad, with that massively bright car, wow, it's really shocking colours there. Much smaller side pods, much narrower car, going to make a smaller hole in the air. It'll be really interesting to see which aerodynamic concept takes the win in this round.
Let's see if only Smarties have the answer. Let's get out on track for race number 1.
Now with race number 1 with the Lightning Dragons in lane 1 and in lane 2 with the Smarties squad.
And the Lightning Dragons striking a win there with a 1.966. Smarties squad close behind with a 2.131.
Wow, the Lightning Dragons just flying under 2 seconds there. Congratulations with the Smarties squad just on their tail. Looking absolutely fantastic, both teams, as they fly down the track. 2 great identities there as well for these 2 teams. Let's head out on track and check out race number 2.
Race number 2 with the team still in the same lanes. Look at those colors, love it. Lights out, there they go.
And the Lightning Dragons taking a second win with a 1.891. Smarties squad close behind with a 2.722.
We just saw the Smarties squad just crawling over the line a little bit there, Lawrence. Can you just let us know why that might have happened?
Yeah, so, I mean, these cars reach incredibly high speeds. It's, you see them fire away from those starting gates and race over the 20-metre track, but then they have such a small area to decelerate in. It's less than 1 metre. So we do occasionally see, especially with these paper and card-constructed cars, that they can sustain a little bit of damage, and maybe that is why they went a bit slower on that second run.
Great stuff. Well, let's see if the Smarties can mix it up this time and come back with a faster time. Let's head out on track for race number 3.
Race number 3, now with the teams in different lanes, Amy and Tom, with the Smarty squads now in lane 1 and the Lightning Dragons in lane 2.
Well, what a battle that one was, with the Smarty squad taking the third race with a 2.047. Lightning Dragons so close behind with a 2.059.
What a race that one was. Whoa.
Really good.
Incredibly close times from both teams. Absolutely loving this matchup. It's such a close one that we've got here. I wonder if both teams could go under 1 second in the next 4th and final race. Let's check it out.
Amazing, that would be great. Final race for these two teams. Let's give them a cheer. You guys can do this. Smarty squads, Lightning Dragons.
Well, Tom, you're going to have to tell me the lottery numbers afterwards because we were correct with a 1.903 for the Smarties squad. Lightning Dragons so close behind with a 1.946.
Well, I will reveal all in the lottery numbers on the charts later in the stream. Two absolutely amazing times, both going straight under that 2-second barrier. Fantastic to see, and a strong finish to that pair of racing. Let's check out the leaderboard. And there we have it, the Lightning Dragons flying in there to position 1 with a 1.891, and the Smarties squad getting those E numbers into lane 2 with a 1.903. Make some noise for those two teams. I hope the classroom walls are shaking in your schools. Should we check out our next two teams, Amy?
Let's go for it. And the next two cars on track are Sonic Squad and the Midget Maniacs.
Sonic Squad and the Midget Maniacs. Whoa! Look at these two designs. There's colours all over the place. Lawrence, tell us some more info.
Wow, we've got two radically different cars once again. I'm loving the Midget Maniacs design. You see they've got a high front and rear wing. That's really interesting because, as those wheels spin up, they create this turbulent air, so maybe the aerodynamics don't act quite as you intend. But up high there, they're going to get some nice, clean airflow reaching them, and they should do just what those Maniacs wanted. Anyway, back to the Sonic Squad. They'll be hoping that car goes down the track like lightning, and I'm loving those colours. A wide front wing with those vertical sidewalls on the front wing, just keeping the air all tucked in nicely. Let's go to the racing.
Well, let's check out race number 1 then. Thanks, Lawrence.
Exciting stuff. Race number 1 with Sonic Squad in lane 1 and the Midget Maniacs in lane 2.
And Sonic Squad creating a sonic boom there with a 2.080. Midget Maniacs close behind with a 2.302.
I love that reference to the World Finals team, Sonic Boom. If you didn't check out our World Finals highlights video, make sure you do to check out all of the teams and also Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom from Germany.
From Germany. Okay, well, Sonic Squad, great start there. I love that. And the Midget Maniacs just on their tails. I wonder if the Midget Maniacs can pull some time back and catch up with the Sonic Squad. Let's find out in race 2.
Will they reach a Maniac speed? Let's see. Will it be a Sonic Squad win?
And Sonic Squad go even quicker with a 2.180. Midget Maniacs going a little bit slower with a 2.397. Maybe you're not so lucky after all, Tom.
Maybe not. Sorry there to the Midget Maniacs. Maybe I slowed you down a little bit. And Amy, you attended our World Finals this year as well. What's your favourite country or your favourite team that you saw this year?
Oh, that one's tricky. I always love the Welsh teams because if people don't know, I'm Welsh, so I always like to have that home pride. But then once again, I always think that the French teams do really well and they always bring some really unique team identities.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Amy. Right, well, let's find out what happens in race number 3.
Race number 3 with the teams now in different lanes. Look at those colors. It reminds me of Brazil in all of their joy. And is it the Midget Maniacs? It is!
And Well done, Nelson, for guessing that one. Midget Maniacs getting a 1.842, a great time from them. Sonic Squad going a little bit slower with a 2.211.
Wow, a really good time there from the Midget Maniacs, and we weren't expecting that from the first two races, but really, really top stuff. I wonder if Sonic Squad can pull it back and take the fourth and final race. Let's find out now. Out on track.
Now on track for the final race. Midget Maniacs, Sonic Squad.
And Midget Maniacs get ready to go absolutely berserk with a 2.115. Sonic Squad with a 2.243.
Wow, some great racing there. Well done to both teams. And again, I'm sure you'll be delighted to find out where you are in the leaderboard. So let's find out. Oh, the Midget Maniacs have gone straight in at number one. How crazy, with a 1.842, and the Sonic Squad there straight in position 4, with a 2.080. Two great times, and look at that leaderboard. Look how tight it is. The teams are all congested there, especially in the midfield. So let's find out how our next two teams place in our leaderboard. Amy, over to you.
And the next two cars on track are going to be the Fire Stallions and Fusion Force.
Whoa, Fire Stallions. Look at that crazy section around the engine chassis, or the engine housing, should I say, Lawrence. What are your thoughts here?
Well, you're really getting in there with the technical terms as we get through these shows, Tom. But leave it to me. So we can see with the bodywork here, they've wrapped it round wider than the conventional construction, which, you know, that's just going to divert the air. It's shielding the wheels, maybe creating a little less drag than the normal designs. Fusion Force, they've gone for the more conventional design, but we can see they've gone for a very flat rear wing construction. That shouldn't create any lift or downforce, not impeding them as they fire straight down the track.
I will just chuck another technical term in there. I love the curve under the side pods of Fusion Force. Let's get out on track and see race one.
Race one, let's see if it's an Italian stallion that it's racing in lane one, or Fusion Force will take it in lane two. Who knows?
And Fire Stallions absolutely burning a hole through the track there with a 2.096. Fusion Force only about 5/10 behind with a 2.539.
Wow, well done. Two great results again. Great start to this round of racing. I wonder if we can get faster, and we'll look to see if we can break that 2-second barrier. Let's get out on track and check out race number two.
Race number two, Fire Stallions, Fusion Force. Teams still in the same lanes. Lights out!
And Fire Stallions taking that one again with a 2.126. Fusion Force going a little bit quicker with a 2.399.
Wow, great stuff again from both teams. We're really loving this. Well, in the middle of these two races, what we're going to do is have a quick break off and have a look at what Lawrence has got to show us about airfoils, I believe.
Well, in such a competitive region, I'm really hoping that we do see some of these teams back in our secondary competition. So I thought we might talk a bit about aerofoils, and all of you will have seen these on Formula One cars with their big front and rear wings used to create downforce. So I thought I'd explain how these worked. So here we've got a very simple aerofoil structure viewed from a side angle, and we have this air that rushes towards it as the car goes down the track. And now that the air can't go through the aerofoil, so it has to split, and some goes above, some goes below, and it has to meet up afterwards. But the air that goes below has a much longer distance to travel, so to meet back up at the same place, it's got to go much faster. This creates a high pressure above the wing and a low pressure below it, and that forces it down, creating downforce.
Thanks for that, Lawrence. Really, really interesting stuff. If you didn't quite catch all that, this will be available on our YouTube channel as a recording, so you can fast forward and go and check that out again afterwards. But more importantly, let's head out onto track for race number 3.
Race number 3 with Fusion Force now in lane 1 and Fire Stallions in lane 2.
And Fire Stallions taking a third win there with a 2.010, an absolutely incredible time for them. Fusion Force with a 2.223.
Great times, well done to both teams. Some great construction. Doesn't seem to be many damages, Nelson, so far.
No, No, thank to the engineers of the team that manufacture the cars quite well. You know, the cars need to sustain lots of pressures during racing, not just the canister as soon as it's punctured, that initial pressure that pushes the car down the track, but also the impact on the deceleration system. If they can sustain no damage during race after race after race, that will be a very important thing for the consistency of those race times.
Thanks very much for that, Nelson. Well, let's hope we don't have any breakages in race 4. Let's get out on track.
Race 4. Come on, Fusion Force. Come on, Fire Stallions.
And that's a full house with Fire Stallions taking all 4 wins with a 2.203. Well done to that team. Fusion Force going very well with a 2.470.
Oh, well done to both teams. Great round of racing again. Let's see where that places you on our leaderboard. And there we have it. The Fire Stallions have gone into position 4 just above Sonic Squad with a 2.010. And Fusion Force into 7th position with a very respectable 2.223. Well done to both teams there. And again, that is a very congested leaderboard. We've got a few more rounds of racing, so let's go straight ahead and check out our next 2 teams, Amy.
And the next 2 cars taking the track are Team Wind Wolves and Galaxy Star.
Ooh, Team Wind Wolves looking good. And out of this world, Galaxy Star. What have you got for us, Lawrence?
I have to say, I don't like to pick favourites, but I haven't seen anything like the Team Windwolves car in the competition so far. I love how they've taken really their own interpretation on the design, and we can see that they've actually cut slits in their front wing and also some holes further down in the car. So obviously they don't want those body panels to impede the air, and they're actually letting the air flow through. It'll be really interesting to see how fast that car is. And the Galaxy Star too. They've got this more curved front wing than we've been typically seeing, and more conventional car further back. It'll be really interesting to see how this very creative and maybe more conventional, but both really exciting approaches face up against each other.
2 really exciting cars here. Let's see how they do out on track with race number 1.
Race number 1 with the Team Windwolves in lane 1 and Galaxy Star in lane 2.
And we've got a little bit of blue on track with Galaxy Star taking the win there with a 1.716. Team Wind Wolves with a 2.658.
Galaxy Star have been out of this world's time there. They might be pushing for the top of that leaderboard. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Well under the 2-second mark there. And the Wind Wolves maybe need to catch a little bit more wind to get down the track a little bit faster. Let's find out in race number 2.
Cars still in the same lanes. Come on, Windwolves. Oh!
And Galaxy Star taking that one again with a 1.727. An amazing time from Galaxy Star. Team Wind Wolves with a 2.505.
Wow. So fast, the cameras didn't see Galaxy Star there, but it was great to see Team Windwolves. And actually, we love to see this unconventional car design, trying something different, a little bit, away from the normal that we see in terms of the design. So well done for daring to be creative. Remember, it's not just about the racing. You've submitted verbal presentations and portfolios. Hopefully, they will have been judged. And the awards are not just on racing, are they, Nelson?
No. Racing and building a car is just part of the F1 Schools challenge. Teams need to develop other project elements. So from primary to the secondary level, the project elements differ, but it's between doing a very fun verbal presentation or building some documents where you explain everything about the process of building, designing, building, and then racing your car.
Thanks, Nelson. It's very, very exciting, and we want you all to check out our award show tomorrow so you can find out if you've taken any of those awards. Let's get out on track for our next race then.
Next race, Galaxy Stars now in lane 1 and the Team Windwolves in lane 2.
And Galaxy Star taking race number 3 with a 1.826. And a great time again from Galaxy Star. Very consistent. Team Windwolves, the 2.547.
Well done to both teams again, posting some great times. And that leaves both teams with one more race left to go. I wonder how they are going to finish out on track. I can see Amy waving her hands and ready to go. Let's get out on track for race number 4.
Come on, teams. One final race. One final race. Galaxy Star, Windwolves.
And another great 2 times from both teams there. Galaxy Star with a 1.885, Team Windwolves the 2.548.
Wow, great finish to that round of racing. Really, really top stuff from both teams. You should be incredibly proud of yourselves. I hope you were cheering along. Let's find out where you're in the leaderboard. Whoa, and there we have it. Galaxy Star with that out of this world time, 1.716 in top position, although you are under investigation, as are the Windwolves, who've gotten placed in 10th position with a 2.505. Excellent work from all of our teams there, and hardly any difference between the first place and the 10th position. So things have been hotting up nicely. Let's find out our next 2 teams, Amy.
And the next 2 teams taking on the track are the Venomous Vipers and Calypso RJEP.
Venomous Vipers and Calypso RJEP. What do you see from these 2 cars then, Lawrence?
Well, we've got 2 more very different cars once again. I mean, they may be called the Venomous Vipers, but the point on the front of their car is like a scorpion's sting. They're obviously looking just to pierce their way through the air as they fly down the track. And the Calypso car, they've got this front wing that's sitting more upright perhaps than the others. They're really looking to send that air over the front wheels rather than straight forward. Let's see if they divert the air as they intend and take a win.
Let's see. Race 1.
Race 1, Venomous Vipers, Calypso. Let's see who takes race 1.
And that's a first win for Calypso with a 1.893. Venomous Vipers close behind with a 2.139.
Really, really close times there. Very good race. You could see that on our cameras as they were flying down our track. Well, without further ado, let's get out and see what happens in race number 2.
Race number 2, you should not trust the Viper. Let's see how they're gonna do on the second race.
And Venomous Vipers absolutely striking for the competition there, closing the gap with a 2.228. Calypso with a 2.189.
See, they've done a little bit better.
A little bit better, definitely. Really, really close racing again. Absolutely fantastic. And looks like we're ready on track already for race 3, so let's get straight out there now.
Race 3, now in different lanes, Tom. So Calypso now in lane 1 and the Venomous Vipers in lane 2.
And Venomous Vipers leaving a sting there with a 1.980. Amazing job. Calypso with a 2.448.
See,
wow.
There we go, the Viper just pop.
That was a brilliant race. It's nice to see the camera as well that we've got in the finish there in the background. We don't always get to see that from our live point of view. And that leads us nicely, Lawrence, into the fact that is either lane faster or not?
Well, I'm getting some glares from our track team. I mean, they work incredibly hard, don't get me wrong, you know. Before the competitions are held, they're firing lots of cars down the track to test both lanes and make them as even as possible. I think it's unusual that there's a difference between the 2 lanes. I think we're more seeing the evolution of a car's performance, whether that be an improvement due to the wheel systems getting looser or the effects of some sustained damage, you know. Maybe, you know, where those wheel systems are mounted, they've taken a bit of damage and the wheels aren't aligned so well. So that could be the reason if we do see cars get a bit slower.
Well, let's find out which lane's fastest in race number 4.
Race number 4, will it be a final strike from the Vipers or will Calypso take this final one? Tension is in the air. Lights out!
Well, they kept a close race for last, with Calypso just taking that one with a 2.206. Venomous Vipers striking in with a 2.274.
Wow, great times. I've got a big feeling that we're going to be clogging up this leaderboard, so let's have a look. And yes, we are. There's Calypso in position 4. And they are there with their 1.893. And Venomous Vipers with a 1.980. Venomous Vipers with a clean bill of health. So well done to that team there. Excellent stuff. Now, we've got one more racer in this regional. Amy, would you like to introduce them?
Yeah, and we have our final solo racer, Vortex.
Vortex, wow. And again, a similar design to some of the others that we've seen so far in this regional. How do you think this one's going to perform, Lawrence?
Well, they've got this high rear. They're really just sending the air up and over at the back of the car. I have a feeling, actually, if we got a reverse view of this car with their livery too, it might look like a bit of a Vortex. Well, let's see if they suck up all the competition and go to P1.
Let's see. Race 1 then.
Race 1 with Vortex racing alone in lane 1. But there's an explanation for that, because unfortunately we don't have a paired number of teams in this regional, Tom. But that doesn't really matter, because you're not racing against another team. You're logging those 4 important times. And the system is giving us a time.
And Vortex's first race comes out with a 2.123.
Excellent stuff. And you might see a slight delay in the time coming up there, Team Vortex. And the reason for that is, Nelson?
Because our track is prepared to receive always 2 cars, one car in each lane. So the track system was just waiting to see if there was another car finishing on the second lane.
Thanks, Nelson. Well, Vortex, get your voices ready and start screaming. Let's get out for race number 2.
Race number 2, so logging in the second time for Vortex, still in lane 1. Lights out. The silence doesn't mean anything, guys, because we're just waiting for that system to give us the time.
And there it does, a 2.117, a great time from Vortex.
Consistency is key. Definitely a really good construction in this car, with those times coming through very similar in race 1 and in race 2. I wonder how similar they'll be in race 3. So let's head straight out onto track and find out.
Third race now with Team Vortex in lane 2. Come on, Vortex, come on, Vortex.
Come on, Vortex.
Come on, Vortex, come on, Vortex. Where's that time? Where's that? Oh, here it is.
And there it is, saving us from more of Nelson's singing. Vortex posting a 2.144.
And if you all want to sing along at home with that song in the next round of racing, the fourth and final race, then you definitely can. How does it go again, Nelson?
Come on, Vortex, come on, Vortex.
I love that. Well,
Amy's going to sing on the final race, don't we?
Let's see, and let's see if that gives some good luck to Team Vortex. Make sure you're screaming and clapping and singing and commenting on the YouTube stream. Let's check out race number 4.
Race number 4 with Team Vortex in lane 2. Let's see how they are going to go. And lights out! Stage is yours, Amy. Come on. Come on, Amy.
Come on, Vortex, come on, Vortex. Is that good enough, guys?
It is.
Unfortunately, I made the car go a little bit slower with a 2.361. I didn't want to sing for you guys, and now, look, Nelson made the car go slower.
We can even do a little bit of a dance. Come on, Vortex, come on, Vortex. Come on, guys, I'm dancing alone here.
Come on, Vortex, come on, Vortex. That was
really good. Yeah. Really good.
Well, do you know what? I think
Ooh.
You've done a great job, Team Vortex, and you posted 4 incredibly good times. You've got us going in the studio as well. So thank you very much for that. Let's check out where you've placed on the leaderboard. Boom, there we go. 10th position with your 2.117. A really respectable time. Excellent work there to all of our teams. A really compact leaderboard, just showing how well you have all done. Well, we'll have a quick look over now at our final leaderboard, which is going to show up the points that you received for your position in today's regionals. And here it comes now. There we go. We've got Galaxy Star in a position 1. Midget Maniacs in 2, Lightning Dragons in 3, Calypso in 4, Smarties Squad in 5, followed by Venomous Vipers in 6, and then Fire Stallions, followed by Sonic Squad and Copper Dolphins, with Vortex in 10 and Fusion Force in 11, Firm in 12, and the Wind Wolves in 13. You've all done an absolutely amazing job, and those times are absolutely fantastic. We are incredibly impressed over at F1 in Schools HQ, so really, really well done. Make sure you're all giving yourselves a massive pat on the back and a round of applause. It just leaves me now to say a really, really massive thank you and well done to our students. The hard work that you've put in is incredible, and the work that you have shown us in our racing show today is absolutely fantastic, so really, really well done. Not forgetting your teachers, they have driven you, hopefully, to get these cars done and your verbal presentations and design portfolios, and they help send the cars out to us here and keep everything nice and organised. So really well done, and thank you to the teachers for supporting the F1 in Schools competition. Don't forget, you can register for next season, so please get straight online, www.f1inschools.co.uk to register for next season. And finally, in the studio, I'd just like to thank Lawrence, I'd like to thank Nelson, I'd like to thank Amy, and from myself, I'd also like to thank you all for coming and streaming in. We'll see you tomorrow for the awards show. We are incredibly excited. See you all very soon.